This is Talk of the Town, a weekly program featuring community events happening in and around Northeast Michigan, with your host, Nancy Smitham, and get the latest from Alpena Community College with Dr. Dan McMaster. And now, today's Talk of the Town.
Good morning and welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Nancy Smitham. My first guest today is Bernadette Shulkie, and she's here to talk about Alban Center for Education, Wildlife, and Research, a brand new company.
Yes, it's been a little over a year now since we started. It's a nonprofit 501c3 organization, and I'll give you a little heads up of what it is that we do. We take an innovative approach to technology for a historical rural community issue. Issues.
Okay.
So things that we've been dealing with for years in the rural community and never were able to use such technologies are now available.
Give me some examples.
Well, first of all, we're located in Curran, Michigan.
Okay.
So if you don't know where that's at, that's in Alcona County. And Alcona County, as most of the locals know, is strong deer country.
Yes, it is.
And if you do not see deer in that area, then something isn't right.
I was there yesterday on 65 and saw many.
Yes. Well, and I'm glad that you mentioned 65. On M65 south and north, and further out as well, we have over 400 miles of fiber internet connection that we have available to us to use for research and technology, other technologies like video cameras and mobility with wireless. So with this great resource, we are reaching out to research entities, educational facilities, universities, to be able to use our technology to advance their studies.
Well, that's wonderful because, as you said, in rural communities, you know, internet, cell phone connections, all those things are sometimes a little bit sketchy, so it's wonderful that there's someone there that's established that's reaching out to people.
Yes. Because, like I had stated earlier, you know, it's such a strong deer country area, we unfortunately also have the label of TB.
Okay.
We cover 4 counties, Alpena, Alcona, Montmorency, and Oscoda, where we're physically in those locations. And the very heart of that has very high levels of TB. And so it's a great location to study what is causing the spread of this disease and how can we save our farms, our agricultural industry from having any kind of damage. So with that respect, you know, we're working with QDMA and DNR and other agencies to help, you know, curb or lessen the effect on us as a community. In addition to that, we also have the, what was I going to say?
That's
I'm sorry.
Okay. That's okay. Take your little sheet.
Yeah, my little sheet here. But in addition to that, we have the education piece where we are sharing with our hunting camps and landowners on how to control the population. Some hunters want to see more deer. Some hunters want to see bigger bucks. Well, depending on what it is that particular camp or landowner's interest is, for instance, the agricultural farmer that I had mentioned may not want to see any deer in their fields. So what can we do as a community to keep everybody happy? Well, food plots are very popular and getting even more popular, and with our technology we're able to help, whether it's the DNR, help the landowner, help the hunting camp to track what it is that is coming into their property and how to plant or control the numbers. So we have experts that have come in and have done talks and educate our groups on what it is that will help to either increase the number of deer that they're seeing, if it's a hunting camp that wants to see more deer, or to increase the size of the buck.
Okay.
So, and there's different methods to accomplish that goal. So we bring in the experts. We're not the experts, but we bring in the experts we provide the technology for them, and we have a cooperative, a deer cooperative that we're starting
Great.
And we're also working with other deer cooperative groups in getting this information, sharing this information, and using technology to advance everyone's goal. So if we can get the deer to go to a different area because they're getting food from this other food plot where the camp wants to shoot the deer,
keep them out of the farmer's
it keeps them out of the farmer's field, so everybody wins. If it is someone who is looking for more deer, then there's different methods that they should be doing. But you know, should you shoot more does? Should you shoot more? Plant certain crops, and how frequently can you plant? What kinds of soil that you have, and what you're able to produce, and how to really recognize whether your food plot is working. Now, when I say that we're adding technology to that, in order to have a camera in the middle of the woods, you need power.
Right.
Well, we have a solar power option. You need internet. Well, we have a wireless option. So we bring fiber, and then we can carry it further with wireless if needed, or we can bring fiber right to you, especially in the 4 counties I mentioned. Now, if it's a state agency that's interested in doing some research, we have access to Merit's fiber throughout the whole state of Michigan.
Perfect.
So there's nowhere within the state that we cannot reach. So I guess the best thing is to contact Alban Center for Education, Wildlife, and Research.
I'm saying if someone living in one of those counties needs more information, what's the best way to reach someone?
Actually, our phone number is pretty easy to remember. There's a lot of nines, 989-369-9999.
Oh, wow, that is pretty easy.
So just a lot of nines.
Okay, and you have these wonderful full-color brochures and things, and I'm sure you probably have speakers, or you can set up meetings like with hunting camp owners, and people, we're getting to be that time of year, so if people all get together and would like to get more information, you can provide speakers and someone to come and tell them what they can do and can't do, and what's been happening so far.
And I would love for anyone that is interested to go to our website. There is an interest form that you can fill out. And right now we have a hunting rifle that we're raffling off. So if you go to our Facebook page or our website, you can enter to win.
Okay.
And that site is ACEWR. It's our initials. So acewr.org.
Okay.
And just go in and fill out the interest form, and we'll enter you into our contest, and you could win a hunting rifle for this season.
Perfect.
So.
Well, thank you very much for being here. I had no idea about this and that this was out there, and I'm hoping that when people are watching, they're saying, hey, I really need to find out more about this.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much for being here. I'll be right back following these messages. Hi, welcome back. My last guest today is Jeff Gray from Thunder Bay National Marine Sanctuary. Hi, Jeff.
How are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. And as we were talking before we started taping, you had an unbelievable summer. You, the Lady Michigan, and all the tourists and the groups that were here that people don't even know were here.
Yeah, it's been incredible. We think about the sanctuary as a place that attracts tourists, and we do. We had a spectacular summer. The exhibits continue to get great reviews. We've made a couple best exhibits and high list on tourist destinations around the state, which is great exposure, not just for us, but for the entire region. But we also attract other type of people, researchers. We've had researchers from as far as Germany come with us, spend several weeks here doing some work. University of Michigan, researchers from around the country come here to do work in the sanctuary as well. And then the other thing that really isn't known as much is we've really tried to become a place where people can host meetings. They can come in, hold their either conference or meeting here, learn about the sanctuary along the way, and then discover Northeast Michigan.
And you've been excellent at that. I always tell people, if you go in there, just take a second and open up the guest book. See where people come from, how many people have been there. And not everybody signs it, and who signs it is amazing. And we know that the people that come in, like the divers, we know they spend more money per capita than any other kind of tourist.
The restaurant, bars, boats, everywhere they go.
They do.
But the group we had just recently was the American Academy of Underwater Scientists. And it was about 120 scientists from around North America. And it was more than that. They were here for a little over a week. They were doing diving, they were holding trainings, they were using our new dive tank, which we can talk a little bit about in a minute, but this really was an advertisement for us. We wanted to get them here, attract them so they could have their meeting for this week, but then we really tried to sell Alpena as a place where they can come back, do more training, do more research, and I mean it was from all over the country, all over North America. The head of the Smithsonian Underwater Science Program was here, so great exposure for the sanctuary in Northeast Michigan.
Amazing. So tell me about the dive tank.
Yeah, so we've had the tank behind our facility that we use for ROV competition and training, and since 2005 we've been utilizing the tank and improving it along the way. Mike Konjorski did just such an amazing job for the international competition where he built that beautiful deck around it, and we're really, how can we make it more usable? And we've done we did several years of fundraising, and we ended with a large donation from the Besser Foundation to put a filtration system in there. So before, we just had some water that we occasionally changed to keep it clean. Yeah, it was like kind of when the bath water got bad, we had to switch it out. But now we have a filtration system on, and we're really excited about how we can use that as an asset to attract people. And it's already working. That is why the American Academy of Underwater Scientists came here. ACC is using it, APS is using it. And so we're really excited how that can be another asset for our community, to both as a training facility, but then as a way to attract folks here.
And talking about assets to our community, your film festival.
Oh, it's coming up. It's coming up.
Unbelievable where that started from and where it is. Not surprising, knowing your staff and everyone at the
and Stephanie has such a passion for the films.
Does.
We're so excited about it. So, but it's coming up in January, which seems a little bit away.
But it's not.
Tickets are on sale right now. You can get the Thunder Pass, which is the pass for the full program. We're working on the final list of films in the schedule, but January 24th through the 28th. It's coming up, a great way to kind of escape the cold of there and explore not just the Great Lakes but the oceans. And we've worked to really expand the film festival. So we have a night in Harrisville, a night in Rogers City, and then several nights and days here in Alpena. And it's just a great festival. And if you haven't been, really come down and see, because it addresses, there's fun films, there's sad films, there's exhilarating educational films, there's depressing films when you see what the state of the ocean is. But it really, I think when you look down to it, it's inspiring. What can we do to try to make the ocean and Great Lakes better?
Stephanie brought in the contents of that albatross stomach at one time. I thought, I can't even believe that. So yes, there's a lot of education that needs to continue.
And film is such a powerful way to share these things with folks. And there's been, as you know, several documentaries done on the sanctuary here. And what are great about those is they not only give us an asset to share with people that are visiting us in the community here what's happening in the sanctuary, but those air on National Geographic and BBC and the History Channel. And again, that helps promote Michigan and Northeast Michigan specifically.
And the filmmakers you get virtually are from all over the world. It's amazing they come to Alpena to have people view their films.
But let's talk about some Alpena filmmakers.
Right?
So over the last couple of years, we've done a student film competition where we've really encouraged students to make their own films. I mean, with the new technology, what these kids can do on an iPhone or a GoPro is just absolutely phenomenal, and it really engages them with the sanctuary or with their community. And so we're doing a couple of workshops. We're doing one on October 23rd and another one on November 3rd, which are both days where there's no school here in Alpena. So we'll have these workshops, partnership with the library and Nemi Glissi, and I'll talk to kids about how to editing and giving them basically tips on how they can make better films.
Wonderful. And there are so many budding filmmakers out there, as we talked. I mean, I know your son has its own channel on YouTube that I see his stuff all the time. And it's amazing the technology that's out there. And plus the subject matter is in our own backyard. You don't have to travel anywhere. You don't have to spend money to do these films and to learn these wonderful tips on how to do it.
And they're learning about the computers and the editing part of it. They're learning about the subjects, the creativity. It's art and technology mixed together. And I think when I've watched the films before, there's also a community pride that develops in these students that work in the films, because they're digging deep into something maybe they didn't look at so closely before.
And when I think about the Alpena filmmakers, hopefully they will be coming back someday and presenting their films here, because who thought that our sanctuary would be expanded? Who thought we'd be having all the wonderful things that we have, the glass bottom boat, all the new shipwrecks that you keep finding, and all the technology and the people coming to our town. So it's very likely that we will have some young Alpena filmmakers coming back to show their films.
And I'm not sure if you remember Ship Hunt, where we did a project where Sony and Intel sponsored this giant research project that we did, and they created a documentary out of it. And they brought some students up from Saginaw to participate in that, and they were high school students at the time. One of the students went on to Western Michigan, and she focused on filmmaking, and so she just graduated as a filmmaker. And we're hoping to get her back up and focus on that. So it is, what's been, I think, rewarding for me is that we've we've been around for a little while now, 15 years, 17 years or so, and we've seen some of the students that we originally touched and what they're doing now, and it's neat to see them making great contributions in life.
How do kids register for this?
Just go to our website. You can get all the
Okay.
information, thunderbay.noaa.gov. You can get the information. There's information at the library as well, but it'll be a great thing. So again, October 23rd and November 3rd, 1 to 3 o'clock at the library.
Okay, thank you so much for being here,
Oh,
Jeff.
it's always great.
Yep, and congratulations to all of your staff for all the hard work they do and
Thank you.
for all the wonderful things where they go above and beyond to make our
Thanks.
community better
They
than
love
it
this.
is.
They love the community and they love the sanctuaries.
Thank you. Please stay tuned for Dr. Dan McMaster following these messages.
Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Talk of the Town. I'm Dr. Dan McMaster, president of Alpena Community College, and I'm pleased to have as our guest this morning Dr. Carol Walczak, instructor of English and advisor to the Language Society. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you very much, Don. Thank you for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Now, the Language Society, a very vibrant group. You've got something coming up, and then you also had a really neat event last year. So why don't we just start by you telling folks what the Language Society is, and we'll take it from there.
All right. Well, initially the Language Society began as a group interested in acquisition of language, learning language, Rosetta Stone, cultural diversity, all of the components of what it means to understand the global world. As we continued, however, our group shifted into a more defined focus, in the sense that we decided we would like very much to begin working on a trip to Europe. So we talked to a group called the Educational Foundation, EF Tours is the name of that group. And EF Tours gave us a couple of choices that we could make, and the students decided they wanted 2 weeks in Europe, and they wanted to hit up as many countries as they could. Well, at ACC, as you know, we have 3 languages. We have French, we have Spanish, and we teach German.
Yes.
So those were the 3 that we focused on.
Oh.
And so our trip, initially, we went down to Detroit, as you well know, because you took us down there on that very long trip. And 6 students, it was really a trip.
Yes, it was.
And we went down there. We started out, I believe we were in Munich, and then we made our way from Germany over to France, and then from France to Spain. And the students were there for 2 weeks, and I know that you picked them up at the airport, and you had quite some tales to tell about what they said. What they fell asleep, actually, didn't you say they all wanted Taco Bell?
There was a step there. I asked them, well, now that you're back
Yeah.
on U.S. soil, what would you like? Taco Bell.
Yeah, and that was true. I mean, and it was strange because even the McDonald's over there, you get croissant in the McDonald's over there. So this group had a terrific experience, and before we left, as the society, as far as that goes, we made some decisions that we were going to have a symposium, and that each student should try to study at least one aspect of culture. And in that, after having done that, then we're going to come back and we're going to present. So that's happening November 3rd. We're doing a presentation for the public, both for, of course, everyone at ACC, but the community is invited as well. The topics range from agriculture to clothing. I'm going to present some things are different over there, is the thing that I decided to talk on. So everyone's going to do a presentation with slides and photographs they took of the trip.
Wonderful.
It's going to be fun. And then we have refreshments following with the group that went to Europe this time around, so there's time for conversation. But as well, the new Language Society, who is planning a trip in 2 years, will also be there, because that's now their job to run the whole business of setting this up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we have 2 choices. Greece, we're thinking maybe, or because we have such a high Slavic population in this area, we're talking about Poland, which is one of the few areas, Poland and Czechoslovakia, that weren't destroyed during World War II, or World War I for that matter. So we'd really get to see Europe pre-World Wars. And I'm thinking about maybe trying to connect our venture there with what they have at the library in terms of their genealogical society, and perhaps everyone would have to look up a relative.
Right.
And then present on documents they found.
Oh, yeah, genealogy.
Yes, exactly right.
That's a good academic activity.
It's wonderful, and it gives them a purpose, a really individualized purpose, not just to go, oh, I'm in Europe now, but rather I have someplace I'd like to study, something I'd like to study.
Sure, wonderful.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm sort of just personally hoping that they'll pick Poland and Czechoslovakia. But they might go for Greece. I don't know, Croatia, that kind of thing. So,
well, this year's group was quite fond of Barcelona.
They loved Barcelona.
They did. They did.
We went to the beach there.
Yes, they liked that. They liked that very much. They liked France, as I recall. The Eiffel Tower was one of your students said it was unforgettable. You know, they got to the top of the Eiffel Tower. How cool is that for ACC students?
How memorable.
Yes.
Yes. And then we also went across town, and when I say town, I mean the city of Paris. And we went to one of the tallest buildings where you can view the Eiffel Tower and the entire city.
Wow.
And we went up onto the roof, and you could actually feel the building move because of the wind. A bit unnerving, but we were okay. And we had experiences that these people, I hope these students will take with them, and that, you know, these are things they're going to be telling their children about and their grandchildren. And I tell them that, keep a journal and things like that. But they were fascinating. They interacted so well. They were just at the right age to be able to make friends, even though there were language barriers, and put their language skills to use.
It was a beautiful thing to drop them off. Of course, you were on that trip at the airport when 2 of the 6 had never been on a plane before.
Never been on a plane.
And they're flying across to, Toronto, then Munich, wasn't it?
That's right. Yes,
and I thought, wow, this is going to be a game changer. And then to come back 2 weeks later, they were it was remarkable how much you could see the growth had been in all of them, but especially the 2 that had never flown before. The horizons, maybe I'm projecting this, but what seemed possible to them just expanded, and that's of course what travel does for a person.
Truly, they've become so seasoned. And what I found interesting was that many Europeans came up and talked to our group. It just so happened we had 6 lively students who were just looking at everything and interested in everything. And people, particularly while we were in Paris, because that's a language that I speak well, we were able to communicate, but it was wonderful, all of the questions and what are you doing here and why.
They wanted to know what the Americans thought.
We absolutely, absolutely, and all of our politics and things like that. And the students were very literate, able to talk. I was so proud of them.
Oh,
and we were
beautiful.
praised by the group that we were with, the groups we were with, who said we were just kind of the light, because we were always bubbly and up and on time and ready, and they were ready, they were good, and I'm very proud of them and grateful to their parents and this community for helping them to get the money.
What a wonderful message. And thank you, Dr. Walczak, for doing the Language Society and giving this opportunity to our young people. Thank you, folks, for watching Talk of the Town. We'll see you again next week.
This has been Talk of the Town with your host, Nancy Smitham and Dr. Don McMaster. For a list of community events taking place in Northeast Michigan, please visit our website at wbkb11.com and click on our community link. This has been a Thunder Bay Broadcasting Corporation production.
The Talk of the Town furniture and set design are provided by Young Appliance Art Van Furniture on US 23 South in Alpena.